Well, hello, everyone. This is your hostess for the hour. This is Dr. Janet Franco, also known as Soulful Rosie. And yes, I'm back on the air. I'm so excited. As you know, we're launching the Trilogy of Wellness. The three categories will be oxygen therapy, DNA restoration, and feeding the DNA. And the third category is quantum physics. But our interview today is so unique. I got to tell you, I met this amazing guy not too long ago, and I went to a convention here in Las Vegas. And you know how God does things. It's just the law of serendipity in its finest hour when we met. After life coaching for 25 years, this has probably been the number one issue with people that I've worked with. Because up until now, to be honest, I didn't think there was anything out there. So, no further ado, let me bring on this amazing guest today, and we're going to get into this subject. And I know that this is going to go global very fast. Our is taking off all over the world right now with the Trilogy of Wellness. So let me introduce Tom to you. Tom Gayton of Aeura Industries, exclusive worldwide distributor of Aeura. And it is a product that's going to blow your mind. So I know that the name is unique, and I'm going to talk about that for a second as we come on. But Tom, welcome to the show, and talk to our viewers and our listeners, because I think you're going to give hope where there hasn't been ever this subject. And people are going, okay, what's the subject? What's the subject? So, how did the name Aeura come about? And tell us that little story about that, and then how this whole journey started with Andrew.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for having me, Dr.
Welcome.
Janet.
Yes.
It's this great venue here. The name Aeura is actually comes from the ancient Sumerian language, essence of balance, and that was through Andrew who'd come up with it, and he was the developer of this product. I was fortunate enough to be introduced to him back around 2008, 2009, and began working with him closely to try to bring this to the masses globally. That was his wish. And of course, it's you bring up the word herpes, and it just brings about a stigma that is just not called for. It is just a simple virus, obviously, that does affect people in various ways, whether it's cold sores or genitals or shingles. They're all a form of the herpes virus. And incredibly, it affects at least one out of every three people have it in some form or another, whether they've had an outbreak or not. It does lie dormant in your body, and usually is activated by several different possibilities, but mostly stress. Stress is really what brings it on, but ultraviolet light can also bring it on, things like that. But mostly stress, and stress just is such a killer of everybody for everything. When you
The
stress
world
out,
we're living in.
mainly
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, exactly. But when you stress out, your immune system dips. When your immune system dips, you're vulnerable to viruses in general, not just the herpes virus, rhinovirus, flu, any kind of virus. And we've experienced a virus, over the last several years that
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
is going to be that wasn't really more, for the most part, than some sort of flu or respiratory type of. But again, I'm not going to tread on that. It was a virus, and that's what we were dealing with. But Andrew suffered from cold sores, and he wanted to develop a product that would prevent them. He knows it's not curable, but how could you at least prevent them? Because he had tried everything, like probably most people out there have tried just about everything too, and some may have something that works slightly for them, or in some way reduces the outbreak in some way, shape, or form. But Aeura was developed as a preventative, so that as long as you were taking Aeura, it would actually prevent the outbreak of the herpes virus, and that means cold sore genital and the rhinovirus.
Before
But
you go
incredibly,
on, Tom, I want to read something that is on your website, and I think it's supported by the World Health Organization. So, do you mind if I read this? Because when I read this, I was absolutely blown away. Aeura addresses the largest epidemic on the planet, according to the World Health Organization. 52% of the population of the planet. In the United States, it's closer to 80%. According to CDC stats, by the time a child in the country reaches the age of 5, 56% already have the virus. That's off the charts. In the United States, over 8% of the population suffer from the herpes virus. The herpes virus currently affects 27 million with shingles, 70 million with genital herpes, and 150 million with cold sores and fever blisters. These are numbers that are absolutely off the charts. And now with this crazy COVID going on and everything just destroying our immune system, there's not a better time to come out. You see these commercials with shingles all the time. I mean, they've increased so much. So let's go back to your story with Andrew. So Andrew, you said, had cold sores. Again, on the website, there's a really good video with him on there. And God bless him. May he rest in peace, that we're carrying on his journey and his dream. So it's an honor for me. So let's continue on with Andrew. He had cold sores, and the video said he had it like most of the time, like a lot, most of the year he had a cold sore, right? That's terrible.
Yes.
That's terrible. You can't get many kisses with that, right?
Yes. No. That's
So
one of those things.
yeah, go back to Andrew, and now let's take these people down this journey of this story, because it really is an amazing human interest story. So please continue.
He'd suffered from cold sores and fairly often, as you mentioned, and he wanted to develop a product that actually would work. So he got 3 of the top scientists in the world to develop Aeura, and it is the 100% all natural homeopathic medicine. It can be taken by children straight through senior citizens. Now, it wasn't targeted to just do cold sores. It was more or less targeted as an immune booster, if you will, because what it does is it boosts the interferons, which is the base of your immune system, and it boosts it to such a level that a virus really just can't attack your body. So when your immune system dips, that's when it comes out. But if you were to take Aeura pretty much kind of as an antiviral prophylactic, then you would keep your immune system at such a level that a virus just couldn't take hold and manifest itself. So that was his journey, and that's when he came up with this product of Aeura that works so incredibly well that, again, he developed it, I believe it was 2003, and since then to now has never had a return bottle. Well, excuse me, he had 1 return bottle, and
wasn't
it was
open,
unopened.
right? Wasn't open.
That's right. So it's in and of itself, it proves that it works. But it really comes down to not what I say, not what anybody else says, but what science has proven, yes, and what people themselves who suffer from this. And I'm talking some people who suffered from it chronically. I mean, monthly in very bad ways, has changed their life incredibly. And that's when I noticed that, when I had friends, people that I know that have suffered from this, and they've got not only just relief, but freedom. It has, because so many people feel that this is just such a death sentence almost, that they're damaged goods, if you will, and they can't be out as normal people. But of course you can. If you're not always in a contagious stage, people think that, oh, if I touch something they touched, I'm going to get it. And no, it's really typically only in an outbreak typically are you the most contagious. Not that it can't still be transferred in some way, shape, or form, but again, this was a preventative that as long as you're taking Aeura, you will not get another outbreak. And this is what came from the clinical trials that we ended up doing, which was extremely important and shed so much efficacy on the product itself. In the very first testing that we did in our clinical trials, they took a healthy cell. Okay, so imagine, say, this was a healthy cell. then they introduced the herpes virus to it, HSV1, HSV2, and also the rhinovirus, which is the common cold or flu.
Right.
They introduced it to the cell. Of course, it damaged the cell. Now, once they had the damaged cell, they took our Aeura, introduced it to that damaged cell. It restored that damaged cell to controlled uninfected levels. So that
Oh,
just blew them away. I mean, they were absolutely freaked out as to what Aeura did. So much so,
where were the studies done, Tom? Who actually did the studies?
it was done at FAU, Florida Atlantic
Florida.
University.
Okay.
And they were so blown away by these findings that we'd only contracted them to do 1 year worth of testing. And they came back and said, we would like to continue doing your testing for free, simply because of such groundbreaking findings on this. They wanted to be able, they were going to be able to get more grants and funding and things like that. So it was a win-win for both of us. They were finding more things to be able to find out what this can do. In their second publishing, they found that it blocked, I believe it was 85% of the amyloid plaque they believe causes Alzheimer's and dementia. It also helps prevent heart attacks and strokes. So these were all published findings. It's not me just saying what they did. These are published findings in the medical journals from the research that they did in those clinical trials.
You know that
So,
that one piece that you showed me when I first met you on your phone, that I was hooked because people know I've been behind the microphone now for over 25 years. And if there's no science behind things, I can't touch it. Really. I mean, I'm out there, I'm a visionary, but when I bring things to the people because of what I went through with my kids, I knew that I tried everything to help my kids. I mean, my one son was critically ill when he was a baby. So I knew the science had to be intact. And when I met you and you showed me that, I just it opened up a whole new world because I've been a life coach for over 20 years. And that's the number one problem when they tell me that they feel like their dating world is over or their personal life in that regard is over. You opened up a whole new world for me. And I haven't stopped thinking about it since the day I met you. So I want you to talk about how what Andrew obviously passed, an untimely death, and you met the daughter or you got involved with the product. And so explain that, how that transition happened and now how it's in your hands.
okay, I had obviously met Andrew, and at the time I had ended up, unfortunately, my own father had passed suddenly and tragically, and well, not tragically, but suddenly. And I ended up having my mom come over it. So I ended up having to sell my businesses that I had in order to kind of take care of her. And that was where I looking for another investment. And that's when I had met Andrew and decided this was a cause I wanted to, pursue with him because of its life-changing elements and what it would do for, mankind, period. And so, unfortunately, at the time of Andrew's passing, I had known his daughter Desiree since she was, I think, 18 at the time. And that was, again, back in 2008 or so. And unfortunately, when he passed, she was obviously mourning quite severely. She was an only child, and they were extremely close. And it was just so sad to see that happen. But during that mourning, she had I just call them sharks that were swimming around Andrew, and that tried to steal the company from him, or from her, I should say, because she was the one to inherit the company. And luckily, I caught up to her in time, and as I was able to wrangle it all back from these people because they had no skin in the game, if you will, and had no rights to it, and gave it back to her. She was unbelievably grateful, as expected, but she really wanted to offer me the half of his company. And I said, no, that's your company. That's his legacy to leave to you. Why don't I start a company and I'll be your worldwide exclusive distributor? And she said, yeah, that would be a great idea. So that's how it kind of fell on my lap. She doesn't have a marketing or a background for this, nor really do I as far as the homeopathic world. But over the past 16, 17 years, I've immersed myself in it and really got to understand it and got to know it. But it's only within the last couple of years after Andrew passed that I kind of decided to take on this mission and champion his dream to bring this product to the world and not just let it kind of fall by the wayside, if you will.
Especially with what it is. And, people have known me and heard me for years and years. I dedicate my life to veterans and first responders, our warriors, our heroes. And I went into the rabbit hole in 2005. And what I discovered and what we've done to help our veterans with hyperbaric oxygen therapy and the things that I shared with you, today we've restored over 50,000 and counting. And so I've really kind of been the spokesperson for the movement. And I work with some of the greatest scientists and doctors in the world, global now. And when I share this with them, I was talking to a doctor the other day, I mentioned to you, and I handed him a bottle and he said, "What does this do?" And, this man is a prominent surgeon of 40 years and West Point grad and all that. And he's like, Janet, if this does what you say it's can do, this is $1 billion breakthrough and or more. This is what his words were. So I
Sure.
just feel like God is just brought us together under a serendipitous situation that, in my humble opinion, should have never happened. But I went over to the event that day, the day I moved back to Vegas. It was incredible. So I know that we were meant to be together. And my passion and the depth of what I do to help others in the world of advanced health sciences is now solid. It's a foundation that's solid. And to meet you and to bring you into this pipeline is really a dream come true for me, because that's why I stuck with this all these years. And with that said, let's go talk about the vets for a second. And you told me some interesting statistics regarding veterans and shingles and this virus. So can you kind of tap on that for a minute, because a lot of veterans will be seeing this video.
Sure. I mean, and thank you for doing the work that you do with these veterans, because there's nobody more important, I believe, to our country than the veterans of what they've done and still do for us, the current ones that are still serving. And if anybody needs to be taken care of, it should be them first and foremost across the board. So thank you for all that you do. And yes, it's, I believe, very serendipitous that you and I had met. I've waited a long, long time to actually meet someone that could share a similar vision. And it wasn't, as you mentioned, yes, this could be a very we'll say profitable, I guess, or money making type of thing, but we're not in this for the money. We're in this for what it's going to do for mankind and for people, and for something that so many people suffer from quietly in their own, not only in their own mind, but in their own physical body. And we can bring that freedom to them. But with regards to the military, I remember Andrew, just before he passed, was telling me that he read that it was an unbelievable amount of, I don't recall the number, but he said an unbelievable amount of military kids from 18 to 25 were breaking out in shingles, and they've never experienced this before, because typically shingles is known as an older person's virus to deal with. And here they are, younger generations of younger kids busting out in shingles. And so what could bring that about? Now, there's any number of things that can bring that about. Obviously, stress, and there's nobody, I think, dealing with more stress than somebody who's in the military and, having to serve.
Could have an answer. I can have one of the answers for you there, because I've been doing this for so long. But when the cortisol levels are up, it's a hormone that elevates when you're under stress, the fight or flight. And so when they're up there for so long, like active military is, it just really starts hitting on the immune system. And then they have all those immunizations when they go into the military. So one after the other just really starts breaking down the defense of the body, because this artificial stuff's going in to try to help fight whatever they have to deal with overseas. So I think that's a big part of it. And so if we have something for our veterans, these are my heroes. I know so many of them, and this is going to be some incredible news for them and their wives and their husbands, because when you have that virus in your body, it affects the whole family, right?
Yeah.
So I just kind of want to interject that. So continue. I'm really excited about what we can do for our heroes.
Yes, very much so. And again, it's something that I believe everybody should be taking on a daily basis, just like a regular supplement, a vitamin, whether it's a vitamin C or D or whatever you take. This should be a part of your routine only because of what it does as far as boosting the immune system to a level that a virus really can't attack your body. And since I was introduced to Andrew, I, knock on wood, have not been sick in almost 17 years. If
Wow.
I feel anything that comes on, I just start taking these things like candy, and within 24, 48 hours, probably max, it's gone. And it just fights it off that quickly, similar to how it reacts to somebody having an outbreak. If typically, a lot of people that I've talked to that they say if it's cold sore, there's shingles or whatever it is, they feel a tingling or an itching before the breakout. In other words, that's their warning sign that one's coming. And they've started taking Aeura immediately. And it just immediately, within an hour of taking their first dose, that itching and tingling begins to go away.
Now, is that
And I've
customary? Is that with most people, or is that like 60% of the time? Does it take longer? Like if somebody has really bad case of herpes on a regular basis, does it take a little bit longer for that to take effect? Or is it normally, like you said, a couple days and they're seeing the recovery?
No, it's almost immediate. Like I said, I think within the first hour or so, I knew somebody who was in the hospital, and they got a breakout of shingles on their face, around their nose, their eyes, which is very dangerous. And I overnighted a bottle to them. They began taking it, and they wrote me a letter back saying, "Tom, I can't thank you enough, because after the very first dosage, within the first hour, the pain and the itching began to go away, so much so that I was able to actually put on my glasses and begin reading again." And that was just, again, these are the things that we hear over and over and over from everybody who's taken it and who's been on it and has firsthand seen what it does for them. And so what it does is when they take it, it'll actually stop it right dead in its tracks and then begin to reverse the action of the outbreak, which I saw firsthand with a friend of mine. They had it on their lip. She came over, said, "Look," and it was developing across almost half her lip. And I said, "Well, here's a bottle. Here's how to take it." And she went home, took it. About 4 days later, she came back. She goes, "Tom, what the F is in this product?" I said, "What do you mean?"
Wow.
She says, "Look." And her lip was like back to normal. She
Wow.
says, "I've suffered with this since I was a little girl. I've tried everything out there." She says, "Nothing works like this. It just stopped and then it went away." She goes, "Normally this would have been on my face for close to 2 weeks because it's going to blister up. Then it's going to begin to dry and crack and scab up before it finally begins to go away." And she says, "This is unbelievable. You saved on my
Oh my
life." And
goodness.
it's like, well,
It's,
that's a
yeah,
little
it's,
overboard,
you got to
but
tell the
yeah,
story about that one woman. You said it was, I don't know how many years ago, but it was quite a story. And you had me in tears when you told me the story. So please share. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
this was a woman. I believe she was. I'm going to say she was maybe early 50s, if not about 50. Beautiful woman. She came in. We were doing a like an infomercial shoot, and she was one of the guests. And I believe her interview is on
On the
is on her.
website, right? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. People have to go
And
there.
she came and she got on there and was talking, and she said, "Yeah, I'm no longer afraid to come out and speak about the pain, the shame, and the embarrassment I've suffered for well over half my life with genital herpes." She said, "I've had it so bad that she has what she called her 5 golden days per month." And
Wow.
again, this is per month. And she said her 5 golden days were the only 5 days out of the month that she was without the outbreak of genital herpes. And I mean, it was just, you could feel this and only imagine what a life like that could be.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Yeah, for
she
sure.
even had to, sit in a pool of warm water, I believe, just to go to the restroom. and she came across, somebody introduced Aeura to her 7 years previous, and she said, I'm happy to say that I'm now, for the past 7 years, 100% outbreak free.
Wow.
And everybody was just like, oh, yay. But somebody said something off screen, and she goes, oh, yes. And I'm also now engaged to be married. And I was just tear
Oh,
city everywhere.
oh, oh,
Again, I get chills right now just talking about that, because of how it changed this person's life so incredibly. And
Tom.
she's not the only one out there. She's so many, I mean, millions and millions of people around, hundreds of millions of people around the world go through, not maybe the extreme of what she has, but experience the same mental space that it takes up in their head, that this is, I've known doctors and lawyers that just from a simple cold sore, they will wipe their whole schedule clean for a week and a half or so until it goes away. I'm like, really? They said, yeah, Tom, because I go in, and no matter what I say to them, all they're staring at is what's on my lip. I was like, wow. And you think about that, it's like, I'm so many people carry so much heavy weight in their brain that it can be debilitating to some people mentally.
Can you believe we already been going a half an hour? So in closing, there's so much to talk about here, but in closing, what is the dosage? I know that they're on the maintenance a little different than when you're in an outbreak. So quickly share what the dosage is, because that's, I'm sure, and this is homeopathic, people. So homeopathy has been around forever. It's one of the oldest sciences in the world, and it's most profound, I think, in the world is homeopathy. So share the dosage and how simple this can be for.
Yeah, each bottle comes with 100 tablets, and the dosage, if you're on a maintenance program, would maybe be 2 to 3 tablets a day. You put them underneath your tongue. You just, the way to take them is, especially this product, is don't eat anything, don't chew gum, brush your teeth, drink coffee, anything like that. 15 minutes before taking it, and 15 minutes after they've dissolved. Only because underneath your tongue you have the most receptors, and it gets right into your bloodstream right away. So if you've had something, it'll block those receptors and could limit it all taking the effect that you want it to take.
Right, right.
So you can take the three, well, 2 to 3 a day, or if you're in an active outbreak, you feel something coming on, whether it's a cold or a flu or an outbreak, you begin taking at least 3 tablets 3 times a day. If you can take it more, take it more. But that's
safe. Right, right. Now you have a
exactly.
special right now. It's half price, correct? Right now because of the expired labels, right? So just share with that, because I know we're going to go into a new batch and we're going to open up and we're going to, we're
Yes.
raising money right now with investors. So right now, what do you have in your bank there?
So
So people can get the
yeah, so
product.
what happened was when after Andrew had passed and we had taken over and we were beginning to, we launched the website and everything. We checked our inventory, and the inventory had expired in 2022, December of 2022. Well, I say expired because that's what it says on the label. But when you look it up and you research it, that homeopathics don't really expire. They have a 25 plus year shelf life, and pretty much without reducing any type of potency or how it actually works. So that's what it said. So now we're in order to continue, people that are on this, we're still doing it, but it's at half price. And so we've been getting a lot of subscribers coming on monthly subscriptions and so on, and new people that are just finding out about it. But again, we haven't marketed it. That's the big thing. I haven't
Getting ready. We're getting ready, right?
no kind of advertising or anything yet, but we're hoping to, once we get the right partner, be able to, we'll get the order to have our new batch coming in, and then we'll be fine from there.
Now, is there a guarantee on the product? You guys offer any type of a guarantee?
Oh, yes, 100% money back guarantee,
Wow.
always.
And you
Always,
haven't
always.
returned, and you said you haven't returned anything
Yeah,
yet. She's sorry.
one return. Yes, yes.
Oh my God.
So pretty amazing.
Well, to round up, I know the goal is huge, and we're working together to take this. The countries that I'm working with right now, because of hyperbaric oxygen therapy and the stuff and quantum physics that I'm working with, this ties right into all that, right? And so we're going to be doing that in the very near future. But right now, you guys are able to get the product at half price, and the information is down below the website. Go look at all the interviews with Andrew and all these stories he's talking about. The science is on there. Please go there. What is, well, I know the website's on there, but just in case it's not a part of something, what is the website that they can go to?
They can go to Aeura Inc. Andura, which happens to be a little homage to Andrew that his daughter Desiree came up with, which AND, which is the first three letters of his name, Andrew, and then URA, the last letters of the product name, Aeura, together made Andura. So it's our little homage to him. But it is Andura, ANDURAINC.com.
Nice. And also your information's on there. They can get a hold of you. And I'm going to be putting this and using this to get to my big players, if you will. We've got organizations that have millions of veterans in there and stuff. So we're trying to get this out. And because of the world, the status of the world right now and the state of our health right now, we really do need to get this word out now. So take advantage of this opportunity to get half price. And if you need to talk to Tom, then the information's right on the website. So, Tom, this is amazing. It always goes so fast with you when we're together. 2 hours goes like 5 minutes. And if that was a date, that would be a really good date because, you know, the whole thing sometimes said 10 hours
Yes.
seems like 5 minutes and vice versa. So I just can't get enough of this information. I'm so excited to share. And every time I tell somebody, they're like, their mouths drop. They're like, what? So we're really in that time now that the world is receiving health more than ever before. And the fear
Yes.
is motivating people to change their lives from the inside out. So thank you so much for this interview, Tom. And we'll get a follow-up interview and maybe we can have some people to tell their stories because I like my own case stories. So I have it out there right now to some of my people that are experiencing this. So thank you so much. God bless you. And we will see you very soon. Thank you,
Thank you
Tom.
very much.
God
Take
bless you.
care.
Bye-bye
God
now.
bless you.
Bye-bye.